Meet Marmalade, the curious cat. Marmalade was no ordinary cat. He wasn't content with naps and catnip. Marmalade craved adventure. His tail twitched with excitement at the slightest sound. One day a peculiar smell drifted in from the window. It smelled like chicken, but different. Marmalade knew he had to investigate. He nudged the window open with his head. A blast of cool air hit his whiskers. The smell was stronger now, pulling him towards it. With a determined leap, Marmalade jumped through the window. He didn't know it yet, but he was in for the adventure of a lifetime. Marmalade landed softly on his feet. He looked around, completely baffled. He had never seen so many things in one place. Towering shelves stacked with colorful boxes and bags surrounded him. Strange, wonderful smells filled the air, making his tummy rumble. This was no ordinary place. This was a grocery store. He cautiously stepped onto the shiny, checkered floor. It was cold and smooth beneath his paws. People pushed metal baskets, their voices echoing around him. Marmalade's whiskers twitched. It was overwhelming, but exciting. He took a deep breath and decided to explore. The first aisle Marmalade explored was a symphony of colors. The shelves were stacked high with boxes of all shapes and sizes, each one vying for attention with its bright and cheerful design. Boxes piled high, each with a different picture. Some boxes had cartoon characters, while others showcased delicious-looking bowls of cereal. Some had smiling animals, others had bowls overflowing with milk and crunchy things. Marmalade's eyes widened with curiosity as he took in the vibrant scene. Marmalade rubbed against a box with a giant bee on it. The bee seemed to be inviting him to play. Honey Nut O's, it read. The box was bright yellow and the bee looked friendly and fun. He swatted at the bee, but it didn't move. Marmalade was puzzled. Why wouldn't the bee play back? Suddenly, a loud crunch echoed from behind a mountain of cereal boxes. Marmalade jumped back, startled. What could have made that noise? A little girl giggled and popped a bright orange puff into her mouth. Cheese puffs. Marmalade loved cheese. The smell was irresistible. He rubbed against the girl's leg, hoping for a taste. His purrs were loud and hopeful. She giggled again and patted his head. Marmalade felt a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. No cheese puffs for Marmalade, but he did get a friendly pat. Sometimes a little affection is the best treat of all. Section 4. Fish Frenzy, the Seafood Saga. This is the tale of Marmalade, a curious cat with a nose for adventure. Next, a fishy smell lured Marmalade deeper into the store. The scent was irresistible, pulling him like a magnet. He skidded to a stop, his nose twitching. The aroma was stronger here, more intense. Behind a glass wall, a mountain of ice glistened under bright lights. It was a dazzling display, almost magical. And on top of the ice lay rows and rows of fish. Marmalade stared, mesmerized. He had never seen so many fish in one place. He had smelled fish before, but never this many, this close. The variety was astounding, each fish more tantalizing than the last. He pawed at the glass, but it was no use. The barrier was too strong, too solid. A man in a white coat walked by, chuckling at the sight of a cat eyeing the fish. He found the scene amusing. Marmalade meowed longingly, hoping the man would understand. No such luck. The man simply smiled and walked away. With a sigh, Marmalade turned away from the fish. His dream of a fishy feast was dashed. He would have to continue his adventure elsewhere. The store was big, and who knew what other treasures awaited him. Section 5. A Sweet Ending, Jim Jim's Triumphant Return. After exploring aisles filled with fruits that smelled like sunshine and vegetables he'd never seen before, Jim Jim felt like he was in a wonderland. The colors, the scents, everything was so vibrant and new. He marveled at the variety of produce, from the bright red apples to the leafy greens. It was a feast for his senses, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of adventure. But as the novelty began to wear off, Jim Jim started to feel a little homesick. The bustling store, with its constant noise and activity, made him long for the quiet comfort of home. He missed the familiar sights and sounds of his own space, where he could relax without a care in the world. He missed his comfy bed and his bowl of kibble. The simple pleasures of his daily routine seemed so far away now. He thought about the soft cushion where he would curl up for naps and the satisfying crunch of his favorite kibble. These thoughts made his heart ache with longing. Besides, his adventure had made him hungry. The excitement of the day had worked up quite an appetite. He could feel his stomach growling, reminding him that it was time to find something to eat. The thought of a delicious meal waiting for him at home was too tempting to resist. He retraced his steps, following the scent of fresh air and freedom. Each step brought him closer to the place he knew so well. The garden path, with its familiar flowers and plants, guided him back. It was as if the very air was leading him home, wrapping him in a comforting embrace. Finally, he saw the familiar sight of his window. It was a beacon of hope, a sign that his journey was almost over. The sight of his home filled him with a sense of relief and joy. He quickened his pace, eager to be back in his safe haven. He pushed it open and hopped back inside. The moment his paws touched the floor, he felt a wave of comfort wash over him. He was home, where everything was just as he left it. The familiar smells and sights welcomed him back, making him feel at ease. His owner was home now, and she was holding a bag that smelled suspiciously like tuna. The aroma was unmistakable, and it made his mouth water. He knew that a special treat awaited him, and he couldn't wait to dig in. Jim purred and rubbed against her legs. The affection he felt for his owner was immense. She had always taken such good care of him, and he was grateful to be back in her loving presence. Her gentle touch and soothing voice made him feel cherished. His grocery store adventure was over, but the memories, and the longing for a taste of those delicious fish, would stay with him forever. As he settled down to rest, he couldn't help but dream of his next adventure, knowing that no matter where he went, home would always be waiting for him.